Edinger made this sort of profound remark, which was that we're all going to be one thing. It's either we're going to be destroyed or we're going to be one thing ultimately. And so I took that to mean that all of humanity is sort of being mashed down in a giant mash pit, okay? And there are opposites everywhere. There, each one of us has at least thousands of opposites within our psyche, but then our society has millions of opposites running back and forth. So the story was that we're all going to be one thing, and an event like the shooting in Las Vegas is obviously going to change the perception of basically everybody that knows about it. Okay, from the people that were in the place, okay, they're clearly going to have changes in their attitude, one way or another. But at some level, all of us are going to have some change in our attitude as a result of seeing and hearing about that event. And
I've been sad all day.
Pardon?
I've been sad all day, and I couldn't. I'm like, why do I feel like bummed out? And then I realized it's because I've listened to several things on that.
Right, and we don't know how it will change us, but the point is that events are happening to us all the time, and I think what Edinger was getting at is that this base archetype, this God image archetype, is causing all humanity to strive toward one thing ultimately. And it's, there's conflict back and forth all the time. And those conflicts are resolved one way or another. But what emerges is something that's different. Okay, and it's like what I have said about the United States being unique. What are we unique about? We're unique about the fact that we have every religion, philosophy, race, creed, you name it, in the world is here in the United States, and they're all American. And it works. And the result is that we have a magnet where we have no problem taking in 1.5 million immigrants a year, okay, because people want to come here from every country. And, that isn't necessarily true for North Korea. I don't think there are many people saying, "Hey, I'd like to be North Korean."
Maybe. South Korea, maybe.
Right. But and I know in Japan they wouldn't have you, mostly. I mean, if you weren't ethnic Japanese, they don't want you to be a Japanese. And I do have one daughter who was born in Japan, and they were adamant that she was an illegal immigrant, literally.
She was born an illegal immigrant?
She was born an illegal immigrant. Yeah, and so within a week I had to literally get a professional passport photo taken of her. And so there's this picture of her in this blanket, and I have my head up behind her, or my hand up behind her head, holding her head up. and so her first passport picture was when she was 1 week old.
Oh my God.
That's
Okay.
good for 5 years.
That's right. And so then I had to run down to the American Embassy and get a passport issued for her, and then I had to go over to the Foreign Ministry of Japan and immigrate, or become a
entered
legal resident. No, she had to legally enter Japan. So
Probably pretty
Wow.
hard. I can imagine.
yeah, so I literally had to take.
Immigration in the delivery room.
So
You're gonna have to have your backside when you scream.
so I literally had to take her passport down to the foreign ministry and have her stamped in, right? And so then she was legal, right? So, but I had to do that like within a week. But anyway, I think the point that they were making is that we're all mashing up against each other, and that's happened more in the U.S. than anywhere else. Okay, that all of our different our different isms, races, whatever, what have you, has happened more in the U.S. than anywhere else, and the result is that we literally are emanating the God image. Okay. Maybe it's very rudimentary at this point. Obviously, we have lots of big warts and cysts and all kinds of other stuff in our society.
That's your family, not mine.
Right. Well, and then there's the sister, right? Or the brother. For me, it's the sister. For my wife, it's the brother. But anyway, pardon? But the point is that fundamentally, there's something fundamental about all of us that is American. Okay, we're not talking about the politics here, but the fact that the God image itself is. We have conflicts everywhere in the U.S., but so does everybody. But my point is talking about something that's happening over millennia. Okay, I'm not saying the God image is going to manifest tomorrow. Not by any means. I mean, it may manifest.
But I'm having trouble with what you're talking about when you're referring to the God image and mashing them together and so forth.
I can see it.
Because what you're talking about to me sounds more like a cultural creation rather than a personal emanation or something.
Well, nobody could define this culture at this point. I'm not suggesting that there's one culture to be defined. I'm saying that the process, and both Jung and Edinger were talking about process, right? I'm talking about, at this point of time, the U.S. represents what I'm talking about more than anybody else, in the sense that gradually we have bubbled to the top of being the strongest and financially most able country in the world. I'm not saying those are the only goods in the world. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that.
Complex for me, I don't know that.
But now the process is also happening around the world, because that's what the internet is. Okay, the internet.
But as much as that's happening, it's also spinning off these factions, these groups that, like the white supremacists do. So even if we're all brown 1,000 years from now, there's still going to be, some little groups that we're pure Chinese, we're pure white, we're pure, Italian or something, whatever, or Hispanic or Latino or something.
Yeah, I'm talking about 1,000,000 years from now, if we survive, because Edinger said we're either going to destroy ourselves or we're going to become one thing. I'm not defining what that one thing
We'll
is.
be chipping things with stones.
Wipes out like they did the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And then 1,000,000 years beyond that, they'll go, we're so advanced and there was no one before us. Just like probably we're doing too.
I suppose, yeah, it could be. So Edinger made the comment that this changes everything. And in other words, once you understand that this oppositeness is of God, okay, because what Edinger and Jung are both saying is that we have a dualistic God, right? God and Satan, and really, if you want to have a monotheistic God, you have to have Satan in the same boat with the good side, okay? The good and the evil, or the good and the, yeah, babe, let's go. The evil side, right?
That's evil?
Yeah, I guess if anything's
Naughty
saying
side.
that.
The naughty side. The naughty side. I mean, the
That's the good
president.
side.
The president today said that this was evil. I didn't hear his whole address, but
Oh,
this was
I didn't.
reported on the news, and so yeah. But it's a part of us, and if we recognize that it is a part of us, then what is to be done about it? Does it change our attitudes? I'm not convinced that making regulations on new gun laws or something like that is going to do much.
Well, like selling drugs is illegal, but that didn't stop the tenant that lived next door to me being a drug dealer.
What kind of?
Cartel's
I didn't,
gonna bring
you
in
know,
guns.